Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi guys, how are you today? Let me introduce myself. My name is Sucianti Nur from 2B class at Faculty of Teacher Training and Education from English major. Teacher are maker sense and character. A nation's progress is determined by its ability to change the character of succeeding generation. Without education, the Indonesian people may not be able to enjoy the results. Indonesia's achievement to date has not been in spite of the role of the teacher who has guided his children into adult humans and played an active role in the development of Indonesia. Being a teacher has to accept any risk, so she has to be brave enough to face anything and be willing to take his challenge. Being a teacher is not easy. Many things people don't know about teacher, including the fear a teacher has when teaching. Now, I'm going to explain some of the teacher's fears in teaching. How to fight the fear of being a teacher. Not everyone had the courage to teach. There are many causes that make people afraid to teach. When that is so often the case, that fear are usually comes into one's mind and is not necessarily the case when teaching. To grow courage in teaching, one can do is to look for what causes fear prevent his courage from teaching. Those fears are usually there in his mind and feelings and become a burden on his teaching. It is this mental burden that sometimes make teaching learning less effective. Some of the factors below are overriding factors into fear of becoming a teacher. First fear, feeling inadequate. To achieve this challenge, try to understand the material in a comprehensive way so as not to memorize everything verbatim. If afraid of forgetting, make important points of note you can use on small paper or slides. Mastering the big picture, teaching make it easier for the teacher to face any of the situation, including forgetting what to say. Second fear. Fear of the students of our audience don't understand. To overcome this kind of fear, material preparation becomes necessary. Enrich the material in existence in all contextual things, and thus make students pay attention. The reluctances is the beginning of our nervousness as though they do not understand what we are talking about. Third fear. Fear of not being able to answer. The above questions and fears are natural, and answering question is a fine art that must always be studied and developed. Preparing as many answers as possible from questions that may arise will make teachers more prepared for the question and answer sessions. Fourth fear. Fear of teaching is unattractive. Each teacher is usually weighed down with a determination to make learning process appeal to the students. That determination was so strong because he wants to make a good impression. That is why he would prepare everything thoroughly. The teaching materials are well in depth. The slide design of the presentation is interesting. The performance is also not. The fear, a fast trauma is very likely for a teacher to have an unpleasant past. While teaching, he may have experienced some embarrassing moments in front of the students. Let's just say, the presentation he did was unattractive, or he couldn't answer the question properly. After teaching, a wooden response is common. Or there are even some with who tend to look down on the thought that the learning of teaching is useless. To address such problems, one must first change the paradigm of making a mistake. How to view guilt as natural and not as the end of all that we have built before. Perhaps a person will find it difficult to develop himself further if he has made a mistake before. See if he was able to escape the same mistake he had made before. This kind of mindset must be altered, trying to think otherwise, that the very mistake we make are the best way to develop ourselves to the full. The mistake we make are the best teachers we have. The mistake we will teach us how to do better. If we err by not being able to answer a student's question, for example, in the future, we will prepare this better question and answer session so as not to stammer while answering questions. Similarly, when you feel ashamed that a slide cannot be displayed on a projector, for example, you are determined not to make the same mistake. For the last, fear of equipment failing the present modern teaching process. Presentation and teaching aids with its failing features are becoming an integral part of it. Many teachers already use various teaching equipment, especially computers or laptops and projectors. Even when all is said and done, sometimes not all equipment is run smoothly. Sometimes a laptop with files on it doesn't even match the projector. Or for some reason, a trouble microphone buzzing out there. The easiest way to dispel this fear is to check all the existing equipment to see if it's all working. Turn on the laptop and start checking if it matches any available estimates. If it is no longer a problem, but if it does not match, certainly it should be sought for a cause. Whether there is a set to adjust or there is another problem. Settle the matter quickly before the teaching process begins. The conclusion one can draw is that it is essential for teacher to feel relaxed and loose in teaching. Strong confidence will be the key to making our teaching interesting. Strong confidence makes what we say more convincing. One thing I'm sure, education is the most fundamental thing in shaping one's life, shaping one's character, shaping a community, and then form a state. Then should one did for the citizen who is your enemy. Giving improper education to children and teenagers would be far worse, because they will be destroy themselves, each other. How important and profound a teacher-educator. From the foregoing hopeful, we can take a good lesson for us to do in the teaching process. That's enough for me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.